So this is the self-development with tactics book. So, today we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We're actually going to go through some YouTube videos. I actually don't know which one yet, but we're going to go through some because, I don't know, whether I just go through an article or not, or through a video or not, just doesn't make any difference. Quite! But I also thought about something different, but this is something that I'm going to tell you after the intro, as always. And I'm actually having two screens, therefore I'm just looking like this right now. And with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast, and I'm really happy to be here. Oh, I see something. Because I've actually today deleted my whole desktop, or I've just transferred it onto my hard drive, and I have kind of lost a lot of things. First of all, I've lost the intro that I've just shown you. Second of all, the whole color correction that I'm having here. And third of all, also the background, as I'm just seeing there, the background of the video, or just what I'm having around me. There's basically, or normally, something that's blue, and now there is nothing that's blue because it's gone. It's not there. But yeah, anyway. I think we are just, as often as we're doing it, I think we're gonna go through something that has something to do with Seth Godin, because he's just an incredible guy, and he's just spreading so many, first of all, different and so really important things. Let's actually go through this one. Kinda sounds to be interesting. Is this how I wanna work it? Yes. Have you ever? Can I actually show the? Yeah, I kinda have to, I guess. I'm not sure about that. I'm sorry. But thank you anyway. I really am happy that you are here. So I hope that I'm not in the way or something. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Ever noticed how some people just light up a room from the moment that they walk in? Now, if you've ever struggled with speaking...
Please.
The internet's sort of an amusement park for people with low attention spans. We know that anytime we have a minute to kill, we can go spend 5 minutes wasting time completely. Now you can set up a meeting in 6 emails instead of having to get on the phone and then write a letter. You have all these tools that will save you an hour or two a day. The real question is, to do what? And that's what the productivity tools aren't answering.
This is, by the way, also something that I really am... First of all, I've actually talked about it quite often. And second of all, I have also thought about it. Because the whole thing with the productivity whatnot is that that we are just so conscious about the time that we're using. And we're so conscious about our time being such an important thing. And we only just have X amount of time in our life left and stuff. But the thing is, yeah, okay, I am maybe choosing to do something not when it is actually, I don't know. Like if people say like, I don't have the time for that, or I don't want to do this or do that because time is so precious. I really want to just care about my time. And then I think like it just really depends on the person. Just don't get me wrong there. If you're saying this and your time is actually worth something because you're doing something, then it is something incredibly important. But on the flip side, if you're just not doing anything that's smart anyway, then you can just do this and that and whatever and quote unquote waste a lot of time. I've been quote unquote wasting so much time with the podcast itself. I've been recording numerous hours. It's insane. I'm having nearly 800 episodes. Today I'm gonna record, I think, 7. I think yesterday I've had 7, 9, 3 and 4. Today is gonna be 5 and 6, then 7 and 8, which is today. So yeah, it's a lot of time. But I don't know what I should be doing besides that, or I don't know what I would have been doing besides doing this. Something that might be smarter or whatnot. I don't know. Like, of course, you can always find waste in whatever you're doing, but you can also find something that's pretty great in whatever you're doing. I've learned to speak English in a relatively well way in this year and a half that I've been just doing the podcast. Like, it really has improved, and I've also seen that, and I've also recognized that, which is in general a really good thing. First of all, for my A levels that I'm gonna have, maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna have them, but and second of all, just in general, like it is a language that is used everywhere, and it is just a useful thing to have. But and also other numerous things that I've learned through going so many articles and so many videos and so many whatever. So yeah, what are you doing besides that? Or what would you be doing if you're not doing this thing or that thing? I think that's just a really incredibly important thing to think about. Is it working? Why is nothing working today? And I would actually also like to kind of not have any shortcuts when I'm using Chrome. I might have to look that up afterwards, actually. Or when I'm having just YouTube open or something. And by the way, I also hope that this is fine as I'm
They figured out how to get rid of our wasted time. but they haven't helped us understand what it is that we actually do to add value.
Seth Godin is an entrepreneur, TED talker, and best-selling author of 18 books. Non-farm business productivity grew significantly faster during the 1990s and early 2000s.
I think the productivity trend started the day I got my first job in 1983. And I walked in the day they were installing the company's first fax machine. And the fax machine was a miracle. And once organizations could see that a device that cost a couple $100 could save every one of their employees an hour a day, they were hooked. And then the cycle kept continuing. So now it's the last stage. The last stage is saving 2 minutes or 1 minute using a clever little app or measuring your, quote, productivity as you work through the day. But there are no more 6-hour savings. The 6-hour savings are all gone. So the challenge we have going forward is to realize faster is not the answer. That if you're going to do a job that isn't going to be replaced by a computer, it's going to be a job where faster is not the point, where braver is the point, more connected is the point, more insightful is the point. And there aren't any productivity apps that can help with that.
Now there's some text, so always when I'm reading, there's some text that the people that are listening to the podcast are not going to hear then. Therefore, I'm just reading it. Executives today receive more than 30,000 external communications every year. And people are going to be like, it's too much. We're having so many different advertising communications every single day and they're pounding everything into our head. And I feel like, yeah, they're doing that, but I'm just not crippled by it. Maybe this is just me. Maybe this is just whatever. Some people might get anxiety because of that and stuff. But I don't know. Like, I don't think that this is such a problem, I'd say. That's okay. There is a lot of advertisement. There is a lot of connections and communications that we're having just ongoing all the fucking time. But I don't really think that it is something that bad. On the other hand, he was talking about the fax. And I do just want to talk about it in a little bit of a different way, which is also by him actually, which is a different thought, but a really important one that you can translate into other areas of your life. The thing is, the fax machine is only working if somebody else is having a fax machine. So I do actually, by the way, wonder who the first person was with a fax machine, because you weren't able to do anything with it unless somebody else also has a fax machine, but as such, it's just useless, because you can't do anything with it, I guess. Maybe you can copy things. I'm actually not quite sure. I haven't been using any fax machines. I've only just seen them in my grandpa's office. But the interesting thing is, it works when other people are also having it. And it makes other people also willing to have it, because those people are having it, because the other people are having it. And the product is getting better when other people are having it, which means that it is more of a thing for me to go to other people and be like, well, please buy yourself a fax machine. I want to send you some faxes. But if this product would be good as such, then you maybe wouldn't be doing this. The whole point of it is that if you're having a product that is better if you talk about it, that is better if somebody else is having it, then you're also probably going to talk about it. And if you talk about a product, it's just advertisement. It's just word of mouth. And it is just the best marketing there fucking is. If there's something good, we're going to talk about it. If there's something that's significantly bad, then of course, we're also going to talk about it. This is just how we're doing it as human beings. And we've always been doing that. So having a product that is better when you talk about it, also in a way that you feel better about it, or better about yourself, about your position, you feel like having a higher status because you have talked about this certain topic, this certain product, this certain company, this certain brand. It's always a good thing, because you're then, first of all, going to talk about it because you get something out of it, because there's some return of it. I don't know. It seems to be the case that we always want something back. And I would argue that it kind of makes sense to do that, and to have that, and to, it kind of makes sense to just want something back, I'd say. But let's see. The music, by the way, is pretty cool. The mobile enterprise app market is expected to grow from 48 billion in 2016 to something.
Always differentiate between industrial productivity and creative productivity. I think we always overvalue keeping busy, always. If you have a white-collar job, unless you are, processing inbound insurance forms and we can count how many there are, the likelihood is you're not getting rewarded for volume, you're getting rewarded for impact. And going faster doesn't get you more impact. You've got to figure out what does get you more impact. Tony Hsieh did something profound at Zappos years ago. Instead of measuring the call center on how many calls answered per hour, he gave them rewards for how long they could keep any customer on the phone. And the record is 7.5 hours, one customer on one call. Now that's absurd. But the point was that people there understood they were not being measured by the easy thing, which is this counter, but measuring the difficult thing, which is, did I make an impact? Will they miss me if I'm gone? So the goal here to be a sustainable professional is to pick something that you do for impact that other people can't game by racing faster than you.
And this, by the way, is also something that I have to think about, because I am trying out a lot of things, and I'm also just forcing myself to try out a lot of things. As I've actually not been, I've been mentioning it before, but I've then not talked about it, if this makes sense. I don't know. But I've actually wanted to have something else in the background before I've decided to just go through some YouTube videos and just get something in it like this, which is a really great way. So don't get me wrong, please. It's a really great way to get information, and it might be one of the best ways for some people, not for everyone. Some people just like to have books. Some people like to have something else, and some people just like to have something visual. Most often people say like, well, yeah, we are in general very, very visual human things or creatures. We like to have some visual things. And yes, I would in general say totally. But some people just still like to have a book to learn. But some people, on the other hand, want to have a course, an online course. Some people do not want to have an online course, but they want to have just a real course or a seminar or something else, or a webinar, something like that. So we are all different. And this is really something to consider. And this is really something to think about for yourself, first of all, and for the people that you're trying to serve, for the people you're doing something for. Which means, I mean, if you just know that the people that you're giving a presentation to, they just really want to have a lot of text, they just like to read, they just like to do whatever, then, I don't know, your slides might be different. Probably. But you just really need to know the target audience, and you really need to know the people, therefore. But on the other hand, I wanted to actually have a game in the background. I wanted to just play a game in the background because I thought that, why not? I thought, why not? Why shouldn't I be trying it out? Why shouldn't I test this, if it is working or not? In the end, I've been looking up just some games and was trying to find something. I wasn't quite able to find something, at least on something that is working and still somehow kind of sensical, I would say. And the thing, in general, the thing that I'm willing to do is just create something, as Seth Godin actually has been talking about. I want to create something that is valuable. I want to create something that helps somebody in some way. Whether it is entertainment, I don't give a shit, or it is actual information. I, in general, try to do both. You know, I do not want to have, and this is something that I'm unfortunately often doing, I'm just monotonously talking about something and I'm trying to go through something, but it's not really what I want to do. And sometimes sometimes we forget about that, at least I do, and I know that some people also do that, and just getting back to that, I think, is a really important thing, you know. But, you know, sometimes we just realize, like, what are we doing? You know, what is it supposed to do when I'm doing whatever I'm doing? And yeah, so I thought having a game in the background might be working, might be something that's good, even though it really feels not good for me. Also, the YouTube thing does not feel that good for me because I associate, and this is the same with the game, I associate it with resting, I associate it with just some escapism and all these things, which is definitely not the case for articles, and which is definitely also not the case for anything else that I'm going through. And it might be just this feeling that is very important, which is, by the way, also something that Seth Godin is often talking about. Like, if you're having a certain feeling of there is some tension, there is something that's going on in you, and you kind of feel different, maybe this might be a good sign you're in the right spot, or you're just on the right way to maybe figure out something or do something that's quite amazing. But by the way, I could actually make myself bigger. Can I? Yes, I can. So yeah, I just in the end decided against it. Even though, like, as I said, going through YouTube videos is just not really something different. Like, it still feels, and while I'm talking, I'm going to go through something and try to find something else where he's featured and stuff. But I think that's really important, therefore. And, like, this is why, I mean, I've been recording so many episodes and I haven't been seeing that much of a return, kind of. On the other hand, I do just have to say that I have been doing so much. And that this might be like, I don't know, a problem or something, you know, because I really am going fast. On the other hand, the thing is, just because I think something is not good doesn't really mean that someone else doesn't think that it is. I just have to figure out who wants to have that. I have to figure out who wants to have what, you know, quite. Which is, I think, yeah, really important to know. It really is an important thing to know what the people want to have, because if I know what the people want to have, then I'm going to do that. Quite. Unless it is something that I just do not want to do, then I'm also probably not going to do that. But yeah. it is difficult. It is a difficult thing indeed. And because, like, as I said, there's always a thing between, or there's always a debate between, okay, should I do it faster, because I can, or should I put more time and energy into it, even though I don't really know if it is gonna be better. Quite, because I don't know, like Seth probably knows, I guess, what the people that are listening to him and the people that are reading his books, what they want to have. I kind of believe in that. I don't know why I believe in that, to be honest, but I believe in that. I don't really know why. Let's see, there's something else. Marketing that fuels spectacular growth with Seth Godin. I just normally pick those videos, or the truth about calling with Seth Godin. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pick some videos that are not too long. Because, yeah.
Have you ever noticed how some people just light up a room from the moment that they walk in? Now,
no, I haven't. Fuck off. And this is by Behind the Brand.
All the way in the back, in that lovely color that I don't know the name of it.
Seth Godin, I saw you speak in 2011 at Stern, NYU, and you changed my life then, and I feel like this is going to happen again right now.
Thank you.
Question for you about curiosity. How do you manage to be someone who
I do just want to point out the music is like so mysterious and stuff.
Is wildly curious and yet also insanely productive from a writing standpoint, from a publishing standpoint. At some point you have to stop reading and then decide to work. How do you manage that, especially today with the proliferation of just insights everywhere?
There's two parts to this question, so let me try to answer each one.
I don't know what's going on there, but I'm gonna turn down the video. It's in 2K. Now I don't just... And I also thought like, well, the video looks actually really good.
Doesn't mean reading more, but I'm a big fan of reading. Curiosity means being prepared to make an assertion. So when you see something you don't understand, you have to either walk on by, which dulls the mind, it's apathy, or you have to say, maybe it's like this because of that. So for example, some of you know I rant about the showers in hotels. Showers in hotels should all be exactly the same design because there's no prizes for innovation. It should be like you turn it, it gets hot, you turn it, it gets cold. That's all it does. The one last night in LA was 3 nested dials. And if you turned it one way, it got cold, and you turned it the other way, it got hot. But if you turned it all the way past hot, it stopped getting hot and made the other head put water out. Right? Now, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, that sucks. But I'm saying, someone thought this was a good idea. And I'm curious about that. Now, there's no way for me to read about it. There's no book on shower design for hotels. If there was, there'd be no problems. So I started imagining, what's the worldview of somebody who finally gets a chance to either design a shower controller or buy one for a hotel? And what are the pressures on them? And what are the story they need to tell their boss? So I asserted something.
This is a really important point, and I really have to point that out. And what is happening? Is there something wrong? I, by the way, hope that the audio of the mic is good that I'm using at this point in time. But the story that we're telling our boss, it is something that's so incredibly important, something so incredibly interesting as well. The thing is, if we do something, we often do it for our fucking boss. And this is just the biggest problem there fucking is. At least one of the biggest problems that I'm kind of seeing in just professional thing. If you're having a boss, you're employed, then you basically have to do the work for the boss. It's not something new. It's not just a new thing or something. It's not also just a really high intellectual whatever thought and stuff. But the problem is, just because your boss thinks that something is good doesn't really mean that the customer or the person that the company is trying to serve also thinks that it is good. So, which means that, and I've also seen that, and I thought like, well, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's actually been about like, to just maybe abstract it a little bit. It's been an event for kids. Well, kids I think might be a little bit overdone or something. For teens, I guess. And it should be just for them. It should be an event for teenagers. And so the thing is, what they thought about is using social media as a way to get across the information and to talk about the information. And the thought then was like, so let's just take social media. The problem that I had to think of is, I don't really think that, and I also don't really know that this is going to make it better just because you're using another medium, just because you're using something digital rather than something that's analog. I don't really think that this is going to make it more interesting for the people. just because you're using phones, just because you're using just tablets, and just because you're using whatever. Like, of course, it just really depends on the age group and the age these people had, which I didn't really know then. But I don't believe in that. And the answer was like, yeah, but this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what my boss wants to do. And then I thought like, well, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And I wasn't really believing in that. I wasn't really believing in the fact that this is actually the case, because I've heard it before and I've also been talking about it before, but I've never actually believed that it is indeed something that people are doing, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I'm doing something for the people. You know, whether my boss thinks this is a good idea or not, just, I don't know. I don't give a shit. Of course, it's not as easy as I'm just talking about it, but it is like, yeah, it really does not make any sense. I can't help myself, but it does not make any fucking sense. Let's see what Seth is also talking about.
And I was probably wrong, but that's a version of curiosity, that the way we become designers of a future is by asking 3 questions. Who's it for? What's it for? And how will I know if it's working? That's design thinking, those 3 questions. So the who's it for was clearly not me. Was clearly no business traveler at 3 o'clock in the morning that this was for them. So who was it for? Well, maybe it was for the architect trying to persuade the client that this hotel could charge extra because it had hip architecture. Oh, what's it for? To give the architect, give her something fresh and new that she could brag about in a meeting. Oh, how will I know if it's working? Because the client says you can build the hotel. That's my series of assertions. So that's the kind of curiosity I'm talking about.
And this is again like the problem. Oh, by the way, I haven't shown you. I'm sorry. This is again the problem. Like a company talking to a company, so B2B, and then they decide something based on whatever, without actually thinking about the customer, without thinking about the people that you're trying to serve, that you're doing something for. No, not a good thing.
Second half of your question was about being productive, and I think there's a couple things here. The first is, I don't have a television and I don't go to meetings. So I don't use Twitter or Facebook. So I got 10 hours on almost everybody. But the second thing is that either you develop this instinct to ship or you don't. And the reason I think everyone should have a daily blog, even if no one reads it, even if you write under an assumed name, is because every night you go to bed knowing you got to write something when you wake up in the morning. And your subconscious will do it. My friend, the late Isaac Asimov, wrote 400 books, published 400 books in his lifetime. Books, of course, the science fiction, but books on the Bible and science and lots of other things. How did he do it? Isaac, I say, how did you do it? He says, it's simple. Every morning I wake up at 6:30 and I go to the manual Underwood typewriter in my living room overlooking Lincoln Center, and I type until noon. And then I'm done for the day. And it doesn't matter if what I type is good. I just keep typing. And once your subconscious knows you're going to type no matter what, it gets better. Because it says, I don't want to waste my time writing bad stuff. I'll make the best stuff I can. Because it didn't work. He couldn't stop himself. He just kept typing. That is possible today.
Which, at my point of view, is also something that's really important to think about. Like, often we think that we are just... I know we often think that we are not good at it. And this might also be the case. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you're probably not good at a lot of things, and I am just also not good at a lot of things, you know. I can really tell. But the thing is, someday it's gonna be good, you know. It's gonna take some time, and it's gonna take some work, and it's gonna take some whatever. But someday it's gonna be fine. Someday it's gonna be good, no matter fucking what. But you just have to do stuff then, you know, until this point is actually there. And no matter how bad it is, we're just gonna get better progressively. We're gonna get better and better and better, and someday we are really good at it. Or actually not. If it is something that you're not really talented at and stuff and whatnot, or just because of some conditions or whatnot. I also do not want to honeycode anything. But yeah, we can do stuff. We can write stuff. I'm also writing every fucking single day. I can't write for shit. And I'm often just writing about the same shit. I shouldn't be doing this, by the way, because it's like, just, it's not good. Kinda. Not that sensical, not that of a nice thing. But yeah, it is what I do. And I also think, by the way, the question of today is there something that you could be doing, but you're always talking yourself out of it because you think that you're not good at it or something? Ask yourself, is there something like that? And if there is something like that, please change that. You know, please do something about it. Please consider just doing it because you can, probably, because you can just write this book, because you can make a music video, you can make music and stuff. Like, I've actually recently recorded a song. for my girlfriend's birthday, and it worked out relatively fine. Like, of course, I'm not a musician. I'm also not a rapper. It is a rap, but I'm not a rapper. And it was fine for what I'm capable of doing. And I just, at this point in time, think about doing more. And I've also just, I'm working on more. We can. We really can. And this is the point of the video. We can. Or something. Nah, not yet. But I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. And I really also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person. And 3 other questions that I have for you are, why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? I really hope that you're going to ask yourself these questions because they can show you your purpose, maybe even a business idea, which is a good thing. But yeah, I also hope that you have liked this episode in the way it is and how it's been. And yeah, I want to see you. Bye-bye. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, I really appreciate that. I really, really, really do.